Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Can't believe we're already on 157. Just want to say that I'm glad you're here. And today we're going to be talking with John Calabrese. He is an ultra runner, endurance guy, also a caregiver, a dad, and many other things. He's an awesome guy. I got to meet him on Instagram. He's been listening to the podcast for quite a while. And I decided to say, hey, we should have you on. It'd be fun to get to know you a little bit. And he has a lot of good stories about being in the Navy and just living life and having good experiences there that he can share some wisdom with. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to John and also check out the show notes for some socks. All right, here comes John. John, thank you so much for taking the time, for allowing me to have the opportunity to talk to you. I know that we've been chatting probably, man, for over a year, a little bit off and on.
Been a good
So
amount of time. Thank you for having me finally.
yeah, man, for sure. Thanks so much for listening. What is the first episode you ever heard? I'm just curious.
Oh wow. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. Just like over the years, like it's hard to it's hard to like pin down a specific one. I just like look at reels and stuff like whenever I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, dude. Sweet. So where are you at right now?
So I'm at my buddy's house, Donald. I'm in his brother's room. This is the most quiet spot in the house. So Donald's got three younger brothers and they're like wrecking stuff downstairs. So this is the quiet spot.
Yeah, for sure. What state are you in?
I'm in Virginia.
Nice. How far away is your place from your
Oh
buddy's
wow.
house?
So man, when I my days are long, man. So I'm about an hour away, but I'm going to the gym after this, so I'm gonna go there, then I'm gonna go home. I'm probably not gonna go home till like probably like 11 midnight, something like
Oh,
that.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but make it happen.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I guess first step, would love to kind of dive into a little bit of who you are. So I'll ask you the old famous question, like, who is John?
Oh wow, that's I don't even know, man. It's a loaded question, man.
Take as
Yeah,
much time as you want.
basically, I'm just I think I'm on my fifth or sixth life by now. Yeah, just yeah, I don't even know how I got here, man. I've done a lot of stuff. I was a really shy kid at school growing up.
Okay.
I joined the military and started to
Oh,
come out of my shell some. That's where between the military and I guess like in school, I started kind of liking running, but the military kind of
yeah.
brought that out more. And then like family also, my family, they're runners, but I never really liked it. I didn't have the discipline and I liked
Mm.
other sports. But then yeah, I mean like I had a messy divorce, and to kind of cope
Oh,
through
sorry,
that,
man.
yeah. But running helped, and I mean, it's not a complete fix. You still gotta go to
Sure.
therapy and do the other things too. But running really helped, and yeah, that's me, man. I like to do a lot of crazy adventures and mainly meet people that do ultras, especially the real messed up ultras like Barkley Fall Classic and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I like to meet the wild people out there, and I hope the sport stays weird because that
Yeah,
if not, I don't want to
you're
be
not
in it.
interested.
Yeah, why?
You know, that's interesting because when I first started getting into triathlon, at that same time, I was really big into entrepreneurship, and there's this guy I met in the business world downtown Chattanooga. His name was Daniel, and he was just going through. At the time, I didn't know this, but he was going through a pretty nasty divorce as well, and he was doing some crazy like 100 miler, 200
Oh yeah.
miler races. Was a very good runner, so I started running with him quite a bit, and he said something that really since I've gotten to know more people, especially on this podcast and whatnot, with the ultra endurance athletes, it seems to be like somebody's always running from something or running to something, which running can be therapy for sure. Obviously, I guess you have experienced that, but it's interesting.
It helps. I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird how I got into it. I mean, it's not conventional, and yeah, it's definitely helped. And I think again, meeting people also that for some whatever reason, like it attracts people that I think that are a lot of broken people, and you can like
Hmm.
relate to them and have some good conversations out there. I mean, I've met some really good people out here.
Yeah, for sure. So take me back a little bit, I guess, into your younger years when you were first starting to consider the military service, because I went through a stint where I talked to a couple of recruiters and was at a point where I made a decision. I was either going to go this direction or go that direction, and it was pretty close that I was going to be going to the military, but never did. So tell me, I guess, what led up to that decision? What were you looking for, and
Oh,
how did it pan out?
that's tough. So like I joined during a very strange time. So like I was I had like, my high school sweetheart and stuff like that. She was going to like a good school, Virginia Tech, and like to kind of hang on and to be near her, I went to a nearby, like a smaller school. Didn't work out. And yeah, so I joined the military and basically I guess just as an escape kind of, just to kind of had to do something. So I just joined it and yeah, I mean like it was it was right, but basically I joined like right before 9/11 and when the Cole got
Mm,
bombed. So like it was so weird in boot camp they would tell us like you're never going to have a Vietnam in your lifetime. You guys are so lucky. You're going to get a carefree paycheck and tour the world. None of that happened. We got into, stuff in the Middle East and
yeah.
yeah, it was wild. I mean like no one saw that coming. At least I mean I didn't. I was like,
How
I'm
old were
doing this
you?
for oh, when I joined I was 19 or 20, I think 19.
Okay.
Yeah, 19. And then yeah, it was really funny too. So in the military, they give you a dream sheet where you want to get stationed. The three locations, number one, everyone said I was an idiot because I put Norfolk number one, just because I'm from Virginia. It's pretty
Sure.
close to home. But they're like, all the places in the world, you want to go to Norfolk? You're an idiot. But so I had that number one. Number two, San Diego. I'm like, you know what? If I gotta see, the other side of the country, might as well just go there. It's a
Yeah,
cool
beautiful.
place, learn how to surf or something. And then third, I was like, screw it. I'll put Hawaii. The Navy's messed up like this, man. Wherever is like the furthest spot away, they're gonna take you away from your home. They gave me
Mm,
Hawaii, of course. Didn't expect that or anything, but that's where I was stationed. And but it kind of sucked, man, just because during 9/11 and like that time frame, like right after we were on a port and starboard watch duty sections. I think that's the right word. So
okay.
um so like we didn't get to we it was like one day on, one day off. So like we were on the ship one day, off the ship one day. But even on that off day, we didn't really get to do much. We were stuck on the ship, just working or getting the ship like ready to be underway because we didn't know what was going to happen, like where we would have to go.
Yeah.
And it was tough, man. It was a really tough time to be young and away from home, and
Mm,
something like that happened.
mm. Did you get homesick? Or like, were you pretty close with your parents?
Oh yeah, and just friends and just like missing like an ex girlfriend, stuff like that. I mean, it's probably like the best thing, but worst thing also. I mean, I'm sure it caused a lot of psychological trauma, and then like of course 9/11 and things of that nature. But yeah, man, it was. I don't know if it was good. I really can't tell you if it was a good or bad experience. I mean, I did some amazing partying there. Also, I got to be in Hawaii, but at the same time, I mean, it was it's not what I expected when I joined. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah. How many years were you in the service?
Oh, I was in for 5, and I mean, it was really cool. I got to see everything, man. I went to Australia a bunch of times. I saw Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I've been to Tokyo. Like, it was so funny. I went so many different places. I went to like places like that before I even like went to New York City or Boston.
Hmm.
It was wild. It was a good experience, but it is tough. It's a tough life. That's why I didn't stay. And I would have, yeah, I'd probably be dead, man, just from drinking and partying and just being an
Mm,
idiot. So like. Yeah, I knew it wasn't for me, but it was a good experience just to kind of see the world and to become an adult.
yeah. What do you think was the catalyst for you becoming quote unquote an adult?
Oof, I'm still trying to get there, man. But it's a never ending process. But for me, I mean, like I always wanted, even at a young age, I wanted a kid. Like I wanted a
Yeah.
family, I wanted a kid, and so like honestly, like I had my daughter at when I was in my 30s, and I think that's when I became an adult, basically, because at that point, can't be an idiot. You have to be a good role model, and that's pretty much why I started running and doing stuff also, because I wanted to, be in shape and be a good role model. So my daughter wanted to do sports also and to
Mm,
do things and to push for her dreams.
yeah. How old is your daughter?
She right now is 11, and
Oh, nice.
I call her 11 teen because she's a teenager now. She's
Yeah.
yeah, she's in that yeah, she's in that stage.
Have you passed from the stage of dad is cool and awesome to now dad is weird and
Yeah, I think I'm getting there. That's tough, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, in ways it's kind of cool because like she wants to do her own thing and she's doing great in dance. Like dance is her sport.
yeah.
I wasn't one of those parents that like made her specialize in something I wanted her to do. I had her try all kinds of different sports, like everything from like lacrosse to basketball. She did writing for a long time. And dance is her thing. So she loves doing that, and I love watching her do that. So yeah, but she's like real independent now, and yeah, I guess I'm kind of an embarrassment. So like, it's cool that I can do more races and stuff now, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I do miss like kind of the bond that we have. I know it's there. It's just that she's in that phase where I'm not. the coolest dude anymore.
Yeah. So fill in the gap for me. I guess post military service, you realize you want to be a dad. Obviously, there's a relationship that has to happen there, and then you're now racing. How do all these things conjoin and then come to modern day?
So I mean, like the divorce did a lot to it. Like it was pretty ugly. Just a lot of time wasted and stuff like that. And it
Mm,
got to me. So like I just finally I was like I want to do something for me. And again, the military planted the seed. So like I wanted to at some point run a marathon. And I'd done like 5Ks of family before, like local 5Ks that we like to do and stuff like that. So
yeah.
yeah, basically during the divorce, I was like, I'm gonna do something for me. I'm gonna, do a marathon. And once the marathon was over, I never looked back, man. I just kept upping the ante and just, started running trails and got into the Barkley Fall Classic. And then that was really over from there because that's because again, that's where I started meeting all these ultra runners that are just
Yeah.
wild in their stories. And, I just identified with them and I was like, these are my people.
That's the one that the Barkley is the continuous loop, right? It's like 4 miles. Is that the
Oh
one?
no, so
No,
that's
that's a backyard.
the backyard ultra. Dude, I've done a few of those, man, and
It
I,
sounds disgusting.
I mean, I was having this conversation today. Basically, like it's awesome they can like a lot of those runners can go so far, but the most I've ever done is 100K on one of those. And when I got to that point, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's a loop. I want to go home. I mean, I can understand like those longer races, like like 200, 300, even like Ball State level and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
because you're seeing other stuff, it's an adventure. But if you're just doing a loop, man, you got stuff to do.
It's a
You got
total
kids.
mental game.
Yeah, you're like my
Yeah.
cars are. I'm looking at my car, man. Should I go on this other loop?
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
tell me about the Barkley Marathon then. Or the Ultra. I guess I don't know much about that.
So, uh, there's two. Laz has two races. One of them is like the big one, the one that that's real selective of who they let in and everything. The one that you tear out the book pages and it's real like not much aid out there. I think there's just water, but the Fall Classic is the one that you just register. I mean, it's hard to get in just because so many people want to get in it and like feel the Barkley experience, but it's just a shorter version of the Barkley marathons. There's actual aid stations, but it's still the same course. It sucks. It's still the same course, but it's just it's more watered down and it's not as long. So if you ever do want to get a feel for the Barkley, you can enter the Fall Classic and see what that's all about.
Yeah. What are some of the things that really set the Barkley Marathon apart that people, when they hear it, they're like, oh, that's that? Like, what are some of the things that make it unique?
To me, like I know some people are really good technical runners, but I'm not. And like for me, it's like not even running. Like it's like sliding on your butt down mountains, actually climbing up stuff.
Wow.
It's like an obstacle course race, man. That's an ultra marathon. That's the
Wow.
best I can describe it. It's wild. Like and for me, like I don't practice climbing or like bear crawling or any of that stuff. I
Bouldering
mean,
and all that.
I just I go to the gym now more. I'm getting better about cross training, but like yeah, I mean, like you just have to be in really good shape to do this stuff because I think for me, what's the hardest part about it is like once you do some of the harder sections on the course, and also the course names, the names of some of the sections on the course are hilarious, like Rat Jaw, Testicle Spectacle, Meth Lab. So
Got 'em
like yeah,
all.
once you're done like with stuff like that, like can you run again after when you actually get like that little stretch of road that you get to get? I mean, basically anything you can run on, basically you have to run to make up that time. If you're
Mm.
walking on any of that stuff, you're not gonna make the final cutoff. So and that's another thing about the Fall Classics too. Um, there's two different ways to finish. So actually three. One, you can DNF and not get anything at all. Basically, it just didn't finish. Then there's a marathon finish, and then there's the 50K. Now once you get to the marathon point, Laz is there and asks you if you want to go on if there's time, and if there's time, you go on. But if you don't make the cutoff to go on, then you just get a marathon finish. So
Mm.
it's kind of intense too. Some people they get to the marathon point and they're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. This is
Yeah.
awful. But then like like I don't know why I always wanted to do the race. I got the marathon twice and I hated it. I was so mad. I mean, I was happy I didn't DNF, but I wanted to keep going at the 50K. So I trained really hard. I've got the 50K three times and the marathon twice, and I'd like to go back and do it again, but I've just been really injured and the course does scare me. So like if I know I'm like having hip issues or something like that, I got to be
Usually
full
won't.
strength to do it because it's
Yeah.
different than it's not just running, it's a lot of other stuff. And like some people can run down that technical stuff. I'm very scared about, sliding into briars and just like
Mm.
bleeding out, bleeding out, man.
Yeah. From the briars.
Yeah, I mean
That'd be a
that
horrible way.
You should Google like what people look like after doing that race, like their legs, like
Just
it's
shredded up.
it's unreal. It's yeah, it's like a horror movie. Like it's unreal. It's an unreal race. I can't believe that stuff that like that's out there, and that's why I love the ultra community. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
they're
fun,
they're a little sick in the head.
just like me.
Yeah. So what's going on in your life these days? I mean, you said you're a caregiver, so I'd love to hear about that and just
Yes.
the things you do and why you do them.
Oh, so I got into it by accident. Really, I was at a race in Manassas, Virginia, at the Prince William Half. The race is no longer, it's defunct. But
Yeah.
at the time, like it was in 2017. Um, I was lined up to do, to start running, and I see like this guy pushing his son on like a racing wheelchair. I'm like, what are they doing? So like I was like really fascinated by it. And when, we took off, these guys smoked the race. I mean, they got like under an hour and a half. So like I was just like I didn't really get it. So I kind of like researched like who the organization they're with, Ainsley's
Hmm.
Angels. And yeah, ever since like I learned about them, Michael and Donald Harms, I started pushing with Ainsley's Angels also, just so everyone can have, that race experience and get to feel what a marathon's like. And yeah, I haven't really looked back on that either. I've done pretty much every distance except for ultras on with Ainsley's, and I wanted to do that also, but COVID kind of messed that up. Like one of the
Yeah.
races I was looking at, a 50 miler, I think it's gone. I don't even think it's around anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What keeps you going back? Because like obviously like your friend's house now, like is there a level of fulfillment or just like helping people experience
Yeah,
life and make it through? Like
I've done a lot of jobs, man, and I've never felt fulfillment from like, like I've been in sales, I've been all this like soulless stuff, and like caregiving just makes me feel happy about what I'm doing. I mean, there's a lot of jobs you just don't get that from, and it just makes you feel, sadness or depression. And yeah, like I don't get that from being a caregiver. And I feel like there's like no caregivers anymore. I mean, nobody will. I mean, it doesn't pay a lot of money. It's a lot of work, and the world needs caregivers a lot. And I think that's just my calling.
mm. What are some of the moments that have been like highlights for you since doing that?
Oh wow. Just, I like to go on adventures with Donald. We go all over the place, just seeing him happy. Like if he's, he's not normally depressed or anything like that, but if he's like down, I like try if I can make him smile,
It's a win.
then I generally feel like I can smile too. And he's such an outgoing dude. I think one of my biggest moments with just him in general is like just kind of coming out of my shell more, just because like he'll just go up to random people and start like talking, like just trying to like hang out, and I'm I've just now I'm like I'll talk to whoever now basically just because like I've been like hanging out with him so much. He's just an extremely outgoing guy, and he's had a
Mm.
real positive effect on me, I think, or
Yeah.
impact on me, I should say.
Yeah, in the on the topic of like those impacts, do you have any moments where you have maybe had, I don't know, something going on upstairs in
Oh
the
yeah,
mind or something in the life, and then you interact with him and maybe he teaches you a lesson or two?
oh yeah, all the time. I mean, and between ultra running and hanging out with Donald, I think that helps balance out a lot of the stuff that I go through in life. You know, Donald is faced with challenges I'm never gonna be able to comprehend. I mean, I know him and I know what he goes through, but I haven't lived it. But
Hmm.
I think that he gives me a lot of inspiration and motivates me to just if there's something like I'm like dogging in life, I'm just like, no, I need to do this the right way, and I can finish this.
Yeah. What trying to think how to ask this question delicately to a degree, but what are some of the things that you have dealt with in life, and maybe even you're dealing with now that are just like really tough that you do have to go to therapy for, that you are trying to find a way through and are progressing?
I mean, I think we all have demons, just stuff growing up. I mean, like running helped for a long time, like after the divorce and things of that nature. But relationships, I think like dating and stuff's really hard. It's hard being a single dad. It's hard meeting people. Um, I had a really bad breakup earlier in the year, and a friend passed away also, kind of
Mm,
like
sorry, man.
around the yeah. It was just kind of like a rough thing. So like that really messed me up earlier on in the year, and injuries also. I think it was just all interconnected, just bad bad mental stuff. But yeah, I think being a caregiver really helps out with that, and just being able to like just puts in perspective, and
Mm,
basically helps. Donald definitely helps cheer me up a lot of times if he sees me moping around, and he helps me not be. And he talks a lot of trash too. I need that also. Like I can't just
yeah.
have somebody like yeah, it's gonna be okay, John. No, I need some trash talk also. That does help out. And Donald's super competitive, and you can't just have you can't be coddled all the time. Sometimes you just need like some real talk and some real, you need some tough love from time to time, I think. If not, you're just gonna be mopey. You're just gonna be mopey, and that's not cool.
Yeah. Do you find that do you have several people in your life who are able to hold that space and be there to maybe give you some tough love? Or
Oh,
Stone's the main one?
I think he is the main one because like my family, like we're not really like that, like we're just kind of it's kind of hard to explain. Like we if anything, we probably coddle more. Like they're just kind of like, like it's gonna be okay, that type of stuff. But yeah, Donald, and then some runners also I know. But then like I think like a mark of a true friend is somebody that like will it's somebody that will bust your balls. I mean, sometimes you need that. I mean, let's be
Oh yeah,
honest.
yeah.
If I think again the mark of a good friend is somebody that isn't afraid to tell you just how it is and not not be worried to tell you that.
Mm. Um, so I know for me, like when I've gone through difficult situations, it often reveals the capacity of what I am able to handle, not handle. Maybe it's a character trait that I don't love comes out a little bit easier whenever I'm under enormous levels of stress or whatever it might be. And so those things become very clear to me and in my past. And then to be able to bring those things out singularly and then say, okay, I'm going to work on this is often a very difficult thing to do. How have you found, like, what's your experience been, or have you noticed those kind of self awareness moments where you're like, oh, I want to work on this thing? And then what are some things that you've done to try to overcome them?
So wow, so I've been really bad about like ever since I started running, like I kind of like mentioned it earlier, like I went all in and just started doing races just constantly. And
Break yourself.
yeah, but then also just balancing that and family members and stuff like that. You know, I hang out with my daughter a lot. I mean, if you look at my social media, you'll see that. But it's I've had a lot of guilt on races before. I've DNF'd races just because I miss my kid. So like,
Wow.
yeah, it can get kind of dark for me like that. Like I'll have guilt thinking that I should be with her instead of the race, even though it's something I planned in advance. I'm just like, why am I out here in the woods doing this 100 miler? I should be at home. I think stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like for me, I've just been trying to balance that stuff out better. Just be able to spread time across with family and being able to do what I love with running. And also every runner is guilty with this, but just actually taking care of your body and not jumping
Mm.
from race to race. I mean, like I was so bad in the past about just wanting to get like high miles every week, just for like leaderboards and just dumb stuff like that. And maybe not, I don't even think I really cared about the leaderboards, but I just wanted to get like a high amount of miles every week.
Mm.
And yeah, I've tried to, ever since like injuries, a lot of injuries last year, the mental stuff, I find like the gym's like pretty therapeutic and it's good for like
Yeah.
recovery, actually doing the stuff I should be doing, like lifting weights, like cross training. I went like years without doing any of that stuff, like not even stretching at all. So like,
Mm.
I think that I'm doing a better job just, with the mental health stuff and just actually taking care of my body, recovering after races, not just jumping in. Let's do another ultra. Let's do two in the same weekend. Just
Oh
that
my
kind of,
goodness. That's
if
great.
you, I'm not gonna like list the amount of races I've done because I don't even know. Because if you look at my ultra sign up, there's stuff that like I've done like a bunch of like underground like fat ass races that aren't even on there. So
Hmm.
like I can't even tell me how many races I did, but it's like it gets to a point it's almost like drugs. Like if if you ever had issues with like alcohol or
Hmm.
addiction, it's all many times I question if I've like just replaced like alcohol with running. I've asked that question to myself several times, and I think I've gotten a lot better this year, but it's still there. I still want to do all the races.
Yeah. If you weren't able to run, what would that do to you?
Well, that's the thing. Like this year, I've had stretches where I haven't. Like because I was injured off and on last year, and then like in March, I don't know what happened. Like I was just running a normal run. I think it was March or like late April, something like that, somewhere around there. I was just doing a normal recovery run one day, a 6 mile recovery run, and then my hip got really messed up. So
Mm.
I wasn't able to like even walk right. I looked like I couldn't. It hurt just to walk. So yeah, like I've been doing a lot of the gym stuff. I'm starting to slowly get back to it now, and I've done a couple ultras,
Nice.
since. But it was a process, and yeah, mentally it just sucked. But like what I did was I kind of just went all in and just did gym stuff, and it was kind of cool just to meet new people in the gym and stuff like that. But at the same time, I missed my runners. I missed everybody
Hmm.
I ran with. But it's cool making new friends, and it's funny too because like people know like if they see you like all limping at the gym and like or like, swimming all crazy, they're like, you're not, you do some other sport, don't you? Yeah. How'd you guess?
Yeah. With going to the gym, was that in line with like getting actual PT done? Like, did you get checked out to see what exactly was going wrong?
So Donald's PT is really awesome. Basically,
Okay.
I take him to get like to get looked at and stuff like that. And they saw me just walking all crazy one day, and they're like, "Let me look at you." So like they checked to make sure I wasn't like anything major, and
Yeah.
they gave me some exercises to do. So I've been doing those, and it's been working really well. I mean, it took a while, but I think that was good for me too, just to recover from all the abuse over the years of just race
Yeah.
after race after race.
Yeah. How many years have you been doing it now?
Oh wow! So I did my first marathon in 2017, and then I just pretty much continuously did it. And then even like during COVID when the races shut down, I was doing so much dumb stuff. Like I was one of those guys that was like running like a marathon in a field alone. Like I was one of those dudes. Like, yeah, just doing the virtual races. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, like during COVID, I think I hit like 5,000 miles for the year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't like doing tempo runs or anything like that. It was like slower pace, like kind of like walk runs and stuff like that. But I was still out there every day. It was pretty crazy. I would just do like a 50K like locally and then just like run back and hang out with my daughter all day. It was amazing. I mean, I know COVID sucked and everything, but I had fun hanging out with my kid.
Yeah. What does your daughter think of your running?
So that's a tough question. I mean, like she doesn't like it that I have to go away at times and I'm away and I think she's okay with it, but at the same time, she doesn't like that. It makes me be away sometimes. And I've done races with her. She's done like a couple 5Ks and kid runs and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, running's not her thing. And hopefully at some point she starts to like it. I'd love to do a race with her, like when she gets older, like the Marine Corps Marathon. That would be it. Like I wouldn't have to do a race after that if I could
Yeah,
just
you
do
feel like
stuff like
that
that
would
with her.
be the
Yeah,
best
that
one.
would be an incredible run to do with her. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she disapproves of me running because ultimately, I think it's good for her to see somebody like that obsessed with the sport because she's definitely like that. She's that wild about dance also. Like
Yeah,
she's
different mentality.
she's equally into dance as I am running. Um, yeah, she just got Clara and the Nutcracker like for Nutcracker coming up at her dance
Yeah, yeah,
company. Yeah, she's really into it. And I think she's gotten a lot of that from me, I think. But also like, she has a real good support system. I'm divorced, but even though like, me and we my her mom and I we co-parent very well together. So like we've got a good team, then family also. So we all help out Jillian and yeah, it's just it's a tough balance, but I hope she doesn't resent me for running. I really hope not. I think she's okay with it, but like I said, I do sometimes feel regret for doing as many races as I do.
yeah. Well, let me ask about that a little bit because you said that you even quit some
Oh yeah.
races in the past because you were feeling that guilt. Does that guilt come from a place of just kind of you in the moment thinking about you, or does it go back even further to like were your parents there for you? Did you ever feel like that they weren't there for you?
No, I mean my parents were pretty much and if not, like my grandmother lived with us, so there was always somebody there.
Yeah.
Kind of the same setup that Jillian has now. Like her grandmother's early in her life also. Yeah, I think it's just more of me being critical on herself. I think runners we do that, like just or just anybody in the sport, just like you always want to do better. You want to get a faster time. No matter what you do, you want to do a better job, especially with kids because I think that's a part of the issues that triggered that also time's so short with kids. You only have like a certain window before they grow up and you want to
Yeah,
make
no
the best
kidding.
experience possible and make sure that they're okay. So I think for me, I would question like I'm out here doing this 100-mile race when the time time's ticking for my daughter. I
Hmm.
gotta be a good dad. But I think some of that was excessive. I shouldn't have been that hard on myself because it was stuff that's planned. But I still feel that way. I think and I think it's a lot of adults or sorry, a lot of parents that are out
Yeah,
there
I'm
doing
sure.
this stuff.
How do you judge yourself as a dad?
Oh wow. I mean, I would say off like what my daughter says and other people, I wouldn't say that, oh, I'm the best dad in the world because, I try. I mean, like, I try to do all the cool stuff and have fun, but at the same time, I can't be the cool guy all the time. I have to be, I have to be the not fun parent also. And,
The discipline guy.
yeah, I mean, it's tough. I would go off of just, I would think that most people would think I am, but I'm not going to be cocky about it. Like, oh, I'm the greatest dad there is. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
like to believe that, but yeah, I mean, I think if you were to like bring Jillian out, I think she would be like, yeah, my dad's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I'm embarrassed of him, but yeah.
That's just the age, man. I swear she'll come back around. I saw my whole family and me especially go through it when it took till probably I was about 23 or 24 to come back and realize like, oh, my mom and dad, they actually knew a lot of what they were talking about, and I wrote them off as ridiculous or stupid or I knew more than them, and we all do that as kids in the
That's what I'm hoping for that. I'm really
yeah, it will happen. So, oh, I forgot I was going to ask. Um, can I ask a question about or some questions about your divorce?
yeah, absolutely.
So, if you don't mind me asking, like, what happened?
So I was recovering from, alcoholism, and it
Mm,
was like from a long, like, from carrying over from the military,
yeah,
and just stuff like that. So, my former spouse helped me out. I mean, she did help me get sober. She took me to AA meetings and things like that. I mean, she was, pretty cool about it. But I think like my problem was that, I didn't even know who I was at that point because I'd been,
mm,
using alcohol, and I mean, also like a lot of stuff I had unchecked, like feelings and stuff from like the military, again, serving during 9/11 and, a lot of intense situations. I think that just, I wasn't ready for marriage, even though I was, older at the time when I got married. I just wasn't ready.
yeah. And how many years ago was that?
Let's see. So I believe so our again, back to why I started running, like the divorce it was kind of a lengthy process. I believe it was finalized when I was 38. So like it was kind of like it's kind of a messy process, but we actually it actually worked, we when during COVID we started to work really well together because, it was such a like hard situation with school and everything like that. So I think
Yeah,
that we really set aside a lot of differences and just, wanted to focus on Jillian. And I think that, we definitely don't see eye to eye on certain things, but
sure.
yeah, I think that we co-parent very well together. I'm very happy. I mean, if you have to get divorced, like, which is very, I don't like, I don't like the fact that I got divorced.
Sure.
It's awful, but I'm glad if anything we were able to work out our differences for the sake of our child.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. I know it can be really hard for kids. Like my mom, so her parents were divorced and but it was so messy to the point to where like many years she didn't talk to her dad or there was just like this real big disconnect for the way that he would or would not connect with her, very sporadic, and that left like a big hole in her for quite a while. So I can only imagine it will pay dividends that you and your former wife are able to work stuff out for your kid. I'm
It's
sure it
tough.
makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, like, I try no matter what to always have some kind of, I mean, I get along really well with my mom, and then like my dad, like we hang out sometimes. Like we do not I don't have a good relationship as with my mom, but like I think it's really important for people to have like at least some kind of relationship with their parents. I know it's tough, and I know there's bad blood at times, but I think it's really important that you have at least some kind of connection to your parents.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have healed through, like, gone through all the process of healing for that event?
I mean, I think so. I think if anything, like just the fact that we're able to work together now, I think that
Yeah.
speaks volumes. Like if you're able to do that and just set aside differences, and I think like COVID was like the as bad as it was. I mean, I just think it was like what we needed to kind of just like,
Mm,
yeah, maybe just we saw, and you never want to compare it to other people, but I think we just saw people being bitter and like, ugly about stuff that they were going through during that period, like, couples and stuff like that. And we're just like, what, we just have to think about our daughter.
mm. For the alcoholism, it's never appealed to me, but I've had people in my family who have struggled with that, and some have stepped away from it, some have not. But for you, like you saw it was an issue. Addiction is such a hard thing. Like I have my own addictions that I've battled with. What was it for you that like gave you not only the ability but the hope to step out and leave that behind?
So this is kind of tricky. I'll be honest with you, the main reason that I stopped was the law. I mean, I got two DUIs. If I didn't want to get
Wow.
a third and get a felony, so there's that. But then also it happened to my kid. So like I think
Mm,
the law was, that was what started the process, and then just being able to, fully stay sober, just having a child. So yeah, I mean, And it's different too. Like when I talk to people that are in like recovery and AA and stuff like that, like I tell them that I'm like I didn't really even do it on my own initially. Like I was forced to, and it does. I do wonder about that a lot. But I mean, I mean I haven't had a drink since I think 2011, something like that. I mean I
Wow.
don't celebrate my date or anything like that, but yeah, I just had ever since I started doing like fitness, I just haven't I've had no impulses to want to do that. I just want to take care
Mm.
of myself and be able to run and do this stuff for a long time.
Yeah. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 45.
45. Nice. It's crazy how fast time flies, man, because I remember just the other day I turned 21 and now I'm going on 33 and I see these people who are 21 and I remember where I was at in my frame of
Oh my
mind
gosh.
thinking that I was like I had it kind of figured out. And it's just so we can always talk about it, but it's so true like the way that maturity comes over many years because I mean, I'm sure I've talked to people who are older than me, 40s, 50s and they still feel like they're trying to figure it out. So I don't know if there's ever an age where you get to a place where it's like I have reached the Zen state. I am
Well,
here. I have
I
arrived.
I think for me, anytime I feel like that, I just get too cocky and I mess things up. So like I think that you always being humble, I think is the big part of it. You always have to be humble and just, there's always something to improve and there's something to, just kind of be mindful of and
Mm.
not think that you know it. You never want to think like you know it all. And I think
Yeah.
anytime I think that I'm headed for a downfall.
Yep. Pride goes before a fall for sure.
Yeah.
Um, are you a religious person?
I mean, I don't. I, I'm not, but I don't. I would never like, you know, I would never be critical of somebody that is. And like, I mean, I've gone to church in the past. I've went to AA and stuff like that. Yeah, it just kind of depends. I mean, like, yeah, I'm not really, but I don't. Again, I don't. I would never criticize or be harsh to somebody
Sure.
that's their thing.
But do you believe in a God or a higher power?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sort of, maybe.
yeah. I mean, like, I think there's something out there, but I don't know. It's just religion never really clicked with me. I think just because I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Go for it. No, tell me.
I mean, it's like
Say what you really think. You're not going to
I
hurt my feelings.
no, I think like the I think it's really good guidelines to live by. I just me personally yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of like questions and stuff, and I think it's too big for me to ponder at times. So I just kind of again I think faith is great, and I think it's a good guideline to like live your life. And yeah, that's pretty much how I roll with religion. And again, nothing's wrong with religion. Yeah, I think it's a great
Yeah.
thing for people. And yeah,
Are there any questions just about like your past or the future that you have had that you feel like you haven't been able to have an answer for? And I'm not insinuating that like religion is the answer. I'm just curious, like if you have some of these big existential, because you said like, well, I have to ponder it, but sometimes it's too much to think about. So I'm just
yeah.
curious where you're thinking.
I mean, I just what bounces me out is like going on like a long run or something. Honestly, I mean, I know it sounds like crazy, but like, yeah, just I don't know, man. Or just meditating. That's one thing I think that's helped me out a lot. I mean, like I think like recently, just like just taking time for myself just to meditate, and I didn't even so like this is gonna be weird, but like
I like
until
weird.
recently, I gave people a lot of my peace. Like I would just like let them kind of just like you know
Rob
run
you of it.
all yeah like run all over like my piece and just like being able to relax and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people just don't even identify that that's happening to you. So I think like I'm doing a better job now of just taking time and taking like at least like a moment to myself if I need it, or just if somebody is just like not respecting boundaries, especially that's the main thing. Like I think like I've had my boundaries just trampled on like a lot of my life, that I just like it's taken a long time to even understand what was going on. Like I thought that behavior was normal. So like I think just for me like right now it's just like making sure I'm getting proper rest. Which sleep, that's like my worst thing. I need to work on sleep. I need to work on rest, and just
Mm,
making sure that people in my life are maintaining proper boundaries and giving me peace.
mm. What gives you the most peace? Like, is it a topic or something you focus on?
For me, like I like again running, being in the gym, hanging out with my daughter. Um, those are my favorite things in life, and they make me happy. And just or just I mean, like I know it's scary, and it's been scary for me, especially like after like my friend passed and breakup and stuff like that. But just being alone, sometimes you just need to be alone, and people need
Mm,
to understand that I've had like girlfriends in the past and stuff that are just they don't get that. They're like, oh, like they think it's like an insult to them or something like that. But people just need to be by themselves at times and just be able to have peace.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said about the calm of mind. I think that our society has lost that.
Yeah.
I would say it's an art and a skill even to be alone with one's thoughts is it can be very scary for certain people if you don't have. I hesitate to say the word control, but just the ability to shut things out and like you're saying meditate, which kind of leads me to my next question is like what kind of meditation do you do? Do you meditate on a specific thing or awareness of a certain thing? Yeah.
So I hung out with my cousin about like I think what was it like 4 months ago. I went to Florida because I had a lot of like stress going on with like breakup and just a lot of just bad mental stuff. So like I hung out with them and we started talking about meditation a lot and like breathing, just to focus, just
Yeah.
purge your mind and just focus on the breathing. I think that again, stuff that I mean, basic stuff that I should know as an adult, and I just didn't do. Like I was too focused on like other stuff, like job or just whatever, just stuff in my head that shouldn't be there. Sometimes you just have to purge all that stuff out, and it's hard to
Mm.
do, but I'm trying to do a better job of it.
Yeah. What are some of I mean, obviously you have a semblance of peace and mindfulness, but what are some of the benefits that you have found in practicing like that mindfulness and meditation?
I mean, I'm just all around calmer. I mean, like a lot of the times when I was growing up, I would just be like jittery and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I mean, so I drink a lot of coffee also. So I think like that's like a bad, yeah, I gotta control that. It would
How
get
much are
it's
we
like,
talking?
oh, a lot. But yeah, but I gotta, gotta work on that. But I think it helps with that, all that stuff though. I'm not as like jittery or just like scatterbrained, like, just like just calmer. I think that's something that everyone needs just to just be calm about stuff and not let things get to you. I mean, there's stuff that's going to be outside your control that you can't fix no matter what. And you just got to be comfortable with that and be able to let it go, and
Mm,
that's very hard.
mm. So something you've alluded to is, or kind of shown me, is that you know when to ask for help, or at least know how to. A lot of people do not know how to ask for help.
Mhm.
So how do you know internally when you need to ask for help?
If I Restlessness, like if I can't sleep, if something's taking that much space in my head, I can't sleep, or I
Mm,
can't get proper rest, or like even if I could try to meditate, it's still there. I can't get it out. Yeah, sometimes you just need to talk that stuff through, to a therapist or just, like a really good friend or all the above. you
yeah.
know, I'm kind of a talker. I am, but I'm not. Like on long runs, I'm a goofball and I like to talk. I mean, like again, I think Donald brought a lot of that out in me, like in just hanging out with him, just going up to random people and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like if there's something wrong with me, you'll know. Like, oh, John's got some problems. I like to talk a lot if if there's stuff on my mind. I have no problem doing that. And it took a long time to get there. I would keep stuff bottled up
Mm.
in my younger years, but yeah, I'm just more comfortable talking about stuff now and getting it off my chest.
Yeah. The bottling up has always fascinated me because I think that there's actually a use for that. Just the ability to compartmentalize, especially in a time frame, or excuse me, in a scenario such as a military situation, the ability to bottle up those things. But we talk a lot about compartmentalization and how to focus and be in the moment, yada, yada, yada. But there's not as much talked about how to release the pressure from that bottle. And that can be done through a bunch of different ways, but really, I think it comes down to actually like speaking what's going on upstairs out loud so that you can kind of hear when things sound crazy. Because it's so interesting to me how sometimes whatever's rolling around up here, when I actually verbalize it, it made sense up here, but now when I've said it out loud, it makes no sense whatsoever, which
Yeah,
is, it's very interesting.
I think honestly, like I think so much happened like from high school to the Navy. I think that's probably a lot of my those were a lot of my issues like early on in life, just trying to process everything that happened in that short period and just like how to move on from that. Yeah, I mean I think I'm much better off now, but it took a while. It was like a roller. I feel like early on in life it was just a roller coaster for me. Like I had, it might as well have been like a zombie apocalypse for me. I was just running
Mm,
around acting crazy,
yeah.
trying to
Groping in the
survive.
dark.
Yeah, just trying to survive.
Yeah. Well, you've survived. Good job.
Yeah, 45, man,
Yeah.
going strong.
If you were able to go back in time and talk to your 17-year-old self, maybe even right before he decided at 19 to sign up for the Navy, what are some things that you would say to him?
So the funny thing, I think about this all the time. I hear people like say that. I don't think there's anything I could say to myself. I really don't. I think I would have been like, yeah, whatever. I think myself then was just like,
It's probably
yeah,
the truest thing that you could. ever
Yeah, he'd be
say.
like, "Whatever, dude. I got this. You're a loser, man. Get out of here." Wait, that's me. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What is it about that you think that within younger minds that gives them that belief that, oh, I've got it figured out? Like, where does that come from?
Honestly, to be 100% honest, I was, on alcohol. Like it just like I was,
Cloudy
partying and
brain.
just yeah, exactly, just like alcohol muscles, like I got this, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just had probably like the worst irrational confidence, like irrational confidence that wasn't helping me out, like it not, I was yeah, I was just on a bad path back then, man. I think that's what
What did it give you? Because I asked this from a place of like true curiosity. Because I tried drinking and I got drunk I think once, and I weigh 125 pounds, so it really didn't take much. And I was like, this is weird. I didn't actually know if I was actually drunk. It didn't really do a lot for me. I tried some weed and that stuff, and it scared the crap out of me. I went to some party one time. This is the closest I ever got to partying. I went to a party one time, snuck out of the dorm, and somehow somebody ratted on us for sneaking outside of the dorm, and then they called my mom, who called me, and she calls me. I literally we're getting shot glasses, and there's somebody's pouring Smirnoff, and I'm about to throw this thing back for the first time, and my mom's like, I don't know where you are, what you're doing, but you better get back to that dorm room right now. And that lit the fire of God under my feet, and I made my way back. And I never really could get into it, and to my own, I guess, benefit. But what is it for you that like kept you going back? Like, what was it
uh,
giving you?
honestly, I think just like the 90s were like different. I think like, I mean, people were smoking cigarettes more, like, it just, it was much more prevalent, like drinking and like smoking in film and stuff like that and pop
Yeah, yeah,
culture. I think that it was just, just like a generational type thing. I think like in the 90s, people were just like, it was like, people started doing that early on, and partying in high school. And, again, I picked up some real bad habits just in high school alone and just carried it on until, later on in life.
so as your daughter is going to be approaching those years here pretty soon, what are some things that you think or you can do or have done or should do or whatever? Like, what are your thoughts about how to raise a kid in that? Because I'll need advice.
Make sure they're in sports. I think where I got lost was just not, I did track. I tried to do it, and I liked it, but I had no discipline for it. I never was passionate about a sport when I was younger. So like I'm really happy she's into dance. Like she's going to Florida tomorrow for a dance intensive at
Oh,
Disney.
cool.
So like yeah, that's how much she's doing with this stuff and like constantly doing competitions all over. So I think kids need that because if there's idle time, again, I don't think. I don't think like the call to do that stuff is as prevalent as it was, or as loud as it was in the '90s. I think it's a little bit different now. Like, I mean, you rarely see people smoking cigarettes, or like,
Yeah.
people don't even like going out anymore. I went out with friends just to hang out. I wasn't drinking or anything. I was just like a DD, just hanging out with friends. And there was nobody out. I was like, wow. Like, you're just comparing it to when I was a kid, like when people went out, during the weekends or even during the week. I think people just don't want to go out anymore. They just want to just stay at home or just do stuff like. I mean, people don't like to go to movies. Even I went to a movie last
Yeah.
night and like nobody was there. I guess like apps and like be able to stream and I think people just do stuff at home, or if they are drinking, they're doing it at home or like house parties and stuff like that. But yeah, I think just kids being in a sport that I think that gives them a positive way, and they don't want to hurt
Organization.
their bodies. Yeah, smoking or doing alcohol because it's not they won't be as good an athlete if they're on that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting you say that because when your kids, there's so much energy and there's so many things you could put your hands to. And I've seen, I didn't really do many sports actually growing up. Well, I take that back. My mom during the summers put us in like the rec leagues and whatnot in the summer and fall. And I really enjoyed that. It was so interesting too because I had asthma. So I like always kind of got held back. But for whatever reason, as I got older, it just kind of dissipated and I more or less grew out of it.
Yeah.
But those are some of the best memories I have of like getting on the field. Some of the hardest times too, because like as kids, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I put so much pressure on myself of like I had this ideal in my head of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. But then when you're a kid and you're learning how to use your body and kick the ball in the right way, like I played soccer a lot, it took me years to figure out like how to finesse that thing. And it takes a lot of time and discipline, like you said. And sometimes the kids don't have it and the parents have to be there to guide and direct. And I think that that's one of the highest callings I would say in this earth is to be a parent and a good parent.
It's tough. I mean, like what I tell Jillian all the time is like, the body is like the hardest puzzle. And like
Mm,
for sports, I mean that what you're saying, like, soccer might not be your sport, but just keep trying other sports until you find that
yeah,
one that I
just
mean, like
love.
for me, like I'm not the greatest runner. I mean, I've done a lot of races and stuff, but like, it brings me joy. I think that's the main thing. If you find a sport that you have joy doing, you're a winner no matter what. I mean, it makes you happy, and you're in control of your body doing it. You're doing the sport as best as you can.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of your ambitions? Because you
Oh.
still got a lot of years of movement pent up in your body. Like, what are some of the things that you want to
I still want to do a
do?
lot of races. I think that's what like when I get injured, that's what makes me scared because like there's still so much I want to do. Like I'm putting
Yeah.
in for Badwater 135 next year.
Oh my goodness. Wait, that's
Yeah,
the one that's like literally through, is it the
Death
Dakotas?
Valley.
Death Valley. Yeah, and it's like you have to carry everything yourself, right? Or
Oh, for that one you have to have a crew. Like you have to have a van. Because yeah,
you would die.
you could die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I want to do that one. I'd like to try to do the big Barkley at some point, but for a lot of these races I want to make sure I have like this sounds like a job application or something, but like I want to make sure that like I have like a proper running resume that like they'll look at and be like, okay, this guy deserves to be here. And if you
Yeah.
look at mine, I mean, I've done a lot of races, but I want to make sure like if I do put in for like something like Barkley, they know I want to finish it, and they know I have the races, and like I meet whatever criteria they feel is necessary. I want them to know like, hey, I'm not messing around. I want to do this race and finish it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So I want to go back a little bit to the Navy days, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And if there's anything you don't want to talk about, we can totally
Nah,
skirt by
man.
it and you just let me know. But
Whatever.
like you mentioned a few times, like 9/11, and then some of the crazy things you had to go through. What were some of those things?
Just mainly so being away from home for the first time, but then also, not being able to like go out and do stuff like that. Just being able to have like kind of like a social life. I mean, we had one on the ship and stuff like that, but you're like, you know,
With a bunch of guys,
you're with a bunch of
mostly.
dudes that you work with constantly. So it was a weird dynamic. And then on top of that, I mean, this probably wasn't the greatest thing that the Navy did, but like, well, okay, let me backtrack.
Yeah.
They did something awesome by putting us in barracks in the Navy. I thought it was great because we did get to get off the ship to do that. But with that said, what's right next to a barracks? Freaking NEX
Party.
with like hard liquor like, and stuff like that. Yeah, so like we would just like party our asses off and then go back to work just hungover as hell. So yeah, I mean, I picked up a lot of bad habits like around that time because like we weren't doing sports or anything like that. Also, we were just like constantly working and like, going back to like losing your peace. I mean, like it's probably where I lost a lot of that and just being
Mm,
okay with like people just trampling over that because I was just constantly like stressing out about like, where I need to be, what work I need to do, and then just partying my ass off afterwards and not really like giving myself proper rest or any of that.
mm. And then when you started to realize that, that's when you decided to quit.
I mean,
And
I
it took
like
5 years. You had to finish your
I liked it,
course.
but yeah, yeah. I mean, I got it honorably and everything, but yeah, alcohol was like I was just if I was gonna stay in, I wouldn't. It wasn't gonna be pretty, so I just kind of identified that, and also because the lifestyle, I knew I would. I wanted to have a kid at some point. And I knew that wasn't gonna happen being in the military. Like I was gonna like. It's a tough environment to have a family, and like you hear
Hmm.
all the horror stories, like people because you go on deployments. I mean, you go on deployments for like 60
Yeah.
days or longer, most time longer, and especially around like 9/11, we were constantly on deployment. So like I just felt like there was no way I was ever gonna like have any kind of stable relationship or like be able to like have a family at any
Yeah.
point.
Mm, yeah. Well, thanks for letting me dive back there for a second. I was just curious.
No,
Um,
it's a crazy lifestyle, man. I mean, I miss the
yeah.
travel and like meeting people, but the only thing I wish I was an athlete at the time, like I was running and doing stuff because I could have like been doing
Preoccupied.
races all around the world. I could have made a lot more of it, but I was a young kid, man, and
Yeah.
from high school I was conditioned to want to party, and that's all I wanted to do. So
Condition. Yeah.
yeah, I was, man. I was like,
Yeah.
this is my thing. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. Is there any lessons that you learned from being in the Navy and the military that you have carried over into, like, did it teach you what it looks like to be disciplined?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, but again, I think it's tough, man. I like how much of it is discipline versus how much of it is like OCD and stuff like that. Because I
Mm,
think like in boot camp they basically just make you like all jittery and like, oh, I gotta have this way. Like, so like I do kind of question a lot of that stuff, like how much of it is just like them making you like uncomfortable,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
It's
mean,
easy to control people whenever they're uncomfortable or in
yeah,
a state of chaos or, yeah, engineered chaos to a degree.
yeah, and like for me, like I'm the type that just I like structure, and that's why I like the military. But at the same time, like I don't like chaos. I don't like I don't thrive in chaos like some people. I have to
Yeah.
have like a it's stability. I like stability, man, and that's the main reason why I got it. Which is weird because you like out of high school, I was like, I'm gonna join the military to be stable, and then like when I get there, I'm like, wow, this is
I
not
am
stable.
not stable at all.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a maniac. Oh my God, what
Yeah.
happened? So like that was like in hindsight, I mean like maybe I would tell, the younger John not to join just because like, hey,
Yeah.
you're gonna get into a perpetual war forever and you're not gonna get that stability you need. I mean, it's gonna be fun and you're gonna do a lot of things that you are just basically doing now in high school. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't regret serving in the military, but at the
Sure.
same time, it probably wasn't the greatest fit for me.
Yeah, and I say chaos too, and I'm really thinking a little bit more of fear. I think that there's a lot of operation and control that revolves around fear. Because if you
Yeah.
can have someone fear you, you either have the people that are afraid of you, so they do what you want, or they have the people who are brave, and then you realize who you need to squash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's tough. It's scary. Yeah, and I think that just like the hierarchy and stuff like that, I think and the control, I think that did kind of freak me out too. I mean, I always try to do as much work as possible, but then like
yeah.
again, after it was all over, like, like to deal with it, I would just like, drown myself in booze.
Mm. So let me ask you this question: is there anything that you wish that I would ask or I should ask?
Um, I mean, wow. I mean, we talked a lot about like non-running stuff, which is cool. I like doing that. I like diving into other stuff. But yeah, I mean like if you wanted to ask more about like, just the grind and or like, races coming up,
Yeah,
that's good too. But like don't get me wrong, I this stuff's therapeutic for me because like
yeah.
you've asked some stuff I haven't even thought about for like decades. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah. Well, tell me, I guess in our as we're getting a little bit toward the closing moments of the podcast, what does a day in the life of John look like?
Lots of driving. So I live in Culpeper and I drive to Manassas, which is like an hour drive to get to Donald. I'll either go to the gym in the morning, like I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and do my PT and stuff like that at home, then drive to the gym. If I don't go to the gym in the morning, I'll go at night after or not at night, but after I'm done with Donald at like
Yeah.
4 p.m. But some days I'll do the gym in the morning and at night, but it just kind of depends. Like my sleep is terrible. I mean, I'm getting in a lot of like exercise and stuff like that, but I need to balance that sleep and driving kind of offsets that also. So, I'm trying to get all that down, but I love working out, man. I like to,
Yeah.
especially right now, it would kind of sucks is like doing that PT and stuff like that. It just takes up a lot of extra time. I could be sleeping or
Hmm.
running or whatever, but it's stuff I put off for a long time. Like I feel like even though I am like sacrificing a lot of sleep, I need to be doing this now to get my body right. Because I mean, it was just, it's just been a mess. Like I said, I've just been doing constant races and running my ass off every day of the week for so long. Like I feel like this is my year of
Body's gonna
reckoning.
break down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
you gotta build it up.
yeah. So like, I mean, I can't. The funny thing is this: like, I'm in really good shape right now. I look like I'm in good shape, but like, I can bear like so I've done some ultras recently, not really fast times or anything like that. I'm just happy I can get stuff done right now. But
Hmm.
like I can't really run good right now. It's funny too because I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, but I can't run. It's like
Yeah.
it's really it's. I know the speed and stuff will come back. The more I run, I'm more comfortable running. But injuries are so weird with running. I feel like you're just like one day you're like, oh, my hip feels so weird. Like
Next day, boom.
yeah,
Yeah.
then you're like, then like a week will pass by and you're like, oh, I've been running constantly. It's just, yeah, the way that it happens is just so strange like that. And I'm so guilty of this. Like, as soon as it feels right, I'm like, okay, bye. Like, like
Yeah.
anything that I was doing before, like, it will in the past, like, while I was injured, I'd be doing yoga every day. And then, like, as soon as, like, I'm healed
Drop the
up again,
yoga.
see you later. Bye. Yeah, bye yoga. It was nice knowing you. So like anything like that, I just need to get better at doing that stuff while I'm also healthy,
Hmm.
And that for me, that's always been a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. With the sleep, how often do you get to sleep? Like, what is the average hours of night you think you get?
Ugh. Probably 3.5 to 7 hours a night.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a lot. I mean, that's a big gap. 3.5 to 7. 7, I would say, is pretty good. I mean,
That's like on a really, that's all things like clicking, but for the most part, like during the week, yeah, it's probably 3.5 to 5, probably.
dude, that's really bad.
It is really bad. I know. But
What can
I'm facing this, man. I know this. I need to step it up. But it's tough as an adult, man, when you got kids and like you
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
driving and stuff like
And
that.
you
So
still want to run, and
I
you
think,
still want to work. Yeah.
yeah, I think that yeah, for a lot of working people, man, it's probably similar. I mean, a lot of people I talk to, it's like pretty much the same thing, or just we live off we live off coffee and
Oh my
just
word. Yeah.
yeah,
Your adenosine receptors are just completely cut off from the coffee.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and then also like, so like, I don't like night portion on ultras. I know some people like that stuff. Like, I get weird at night because like I'm so sleep deprived anyway. But like,
You start hallucinating.
well, so I've only hallucinated once, but like, um, yeah, I get really weird at night. Like, I'll start saying weird stuff to people I'm running with. Like, we just joke all the time. We just get really weird at night. I think I actually like it. Just, but it's tough. Like, I sleepwalk a lot. I'll be running and all of a sudden like I'm just like. I feel like I'm about to pass out. I don't like doing the night portions of ultras, but it is funny.
What
It is humorous.
well, two questions really quick. What did you hallucinate? That's the first one.
So I did this race last year, the Wild Oak Trail 100. I DNF'd it like 3 times prior. It's just a really hard race. It's pretty much self-supported, and it's got a really long cutoff. I think the cutoff to it's like something like 44 hours. I can't remember what it
That's a
was.
long time.
Yeah, so like the the way it's set up though, it's a loop. So every 2 loops I would just sleep in my car for like an hour or so. But I mean that's not enough sleep. You need more than that. But yeah, I whenever it's night and I'm really like sleep deprived and I have my headlamp on, I always just see weird shit at night. Like I saw Pikachu, like a tree looked like Pikachu. I never actually like see like a straight up like something, but it's like something looks like it because the way the headlamp shines on it. Like I saw Steven
Yeah.
Seagal like by some trees.
Oh, what's up, Steven?
Yeah, just
That's wild.
all kinds of scary stuff. You got Steven Seagal out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, the ones that mainly stick out to me are Pikachu and Steven Seagal. Those
that's
are the
wild.
top offenders. But
That's
also like
crazy.
I think a lot about like that stuff I don't want to think about. Like I'll be like, John, don't think about those horror movies out here because you're by yourself. And then like all
Yeah.
of a sudden like
Yeah.
Jason,
That's all
Freddy,
you can think about.
they're all after me. Yeah.
Nope.
Where are those headlamps? Who are they on? Are they part of the race? There's not that many people out there right now. I can start like I get like super paranoid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nope, I wouldn't enjoy that. Not one bit.
Uh,
So let me ask you this question, and then I'll ask you a closing question. What is it going to take for you to get 7 hours of sleep a night?
I don't know, man. So that's the thing. Like
Move in with, I forgot his name. Brandon? No,
Donald,
Donald. Move in with Donald.
I've actually suggested it before, but that would be it would be too much, and I wouldn't see my kid as much.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I don't know, man. I think I would have to cut off some stuff, and that might be good. Maybe just like once they get healthier, just trim down on like doing as much PT and
How
you
much
know
do you do PT?
well. I do like what the doctor gives me, and then like on top of that, I lift weights and stuff like that. I've been cross training, I've been swimming.
Yeah.
Just for a while.
Just get into triathlon.
Yeah, I will. That was the joke. Is like they're like, John, you're doing all this stuff already. Just give up on running as much. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think what really, what's really been frustrating this year is that I had bursts where I was doing really good. Like I was like fast and stuff like that, and then get hurt again. And then like if I can't run, I just get like really sad, and I want to like I'll just keep cross training, do swimming and stuff like that. But it's harder to go to the gym, to do that stuff.
Hmm.
I'm used to the accessibility of running. Like I'm just gonna go outside my door or like from Donald's house or whatever. So yeah, I just have to find a better balance and probably have to trim something out to be able to sleep better.
We'll have to check back in then.
How's John's sleep?
Yeah. Put out in the story. Well, then a closing question for you. For somebody who wants to get control of their life and maybe there's some addiction or something that they've been dealing with and they want to just leave it behind, maybe get into a sport, what is some practical advice or words of encouragement that you would give to that person?
the sport's not going to save you. I know that's like a popular thing to
Mm.
say, like running.
I've actually not heard that one before, so I
That
think
it,
it's great.
yeah, I mean, like I've heard that a lot lately, and I think I didn't want to believe it until I actually like went through a lot of tragedy and like personal issues. 2024 to early this year. Um, yeah, even if you do find a sport you fall in love with, at some point you're still going to hit adversity, and I think that's the hardest part. Once you find something that kind of quote unquote fixes you, like I found running, what happens after you have that adversity and it doesn't fix you anymore? Like
Mm.
what happens when you don't find your peace from that? You have to regroup and figure out. And that's why that's the advice I would give somebody: be careful when when you hit that point, because that's your next point you have to worry about. And
Mm.
that I wasn't ready for that. I just thought I was fine. I'm good now. I found running. I'm fine. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, once you hit some other stuff, and I think it's mainly like because like my friend that passed, Tony, he we did a bunch of races together. So like when you lose somebody like that in the running community, they're gone. Like a race that's coming up, you're not gonna be able to do that with them. It's over. So like I think that hit me really hard. Like wow, like like that was the first time like a good friend of mine, like a runner, passed away.
Mm.
Um, and that's a lot to handle. And then
Yeah.
my ex-girlfriend also said kind of the same thing. Like it just didn't work out with us. We were that piece wasn't there. And
Mm.
then we shared a lot of races together, also a lot of routes, a lot of training together. Yeah, I think the hardest thing is like moving on from like just like having like a friend like that in the community. Like then maybe you don't want to see other people in the community that was connected to you also.
Yeah. It creates a chasm.
It's tough. Yeah. I think just getting through that, just be careful. Be careful who you let into your circle with this new sport you find. If you find something you love that passionately about and that gets you through things, just be careful to not disrupt that peace. And even if if you're careful, you might still have tragedy like Tony. So like it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. And even if you do try really hard, there's things outside your control that it might not help you away, and that's where actual therapy kicks in. So don't think
Yeah.
anyone that just
Don't be
says
too
running's
good
going to
for it.
fix you. Yeah, you still have to talk to therapists and
Yeah.
people outside of running, because yeah, you can't just absorb yourself into a sport and think it's going to completely fix you.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Hmm. Well, John, thank you for your words of wisdom, for the experiences, allowing me to dive in and just ask all kinds of things.
Yeah,
Learned a ton about you. Really appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. I didn't expect it to go this way, but I'm it's good. It's good to get that stuff out
Yeah.
into the universe.
Yeah, for sure. 100%, man. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much to John for coming on the podcast and let me dive into his life. Really awesome guy, a lot of life experience. He obviously really loves his daughter, really likes being a caregiver, and is an awesome endurance athlete. Just hope he gets some more sleep. So, John, thank you so much for coming on. If you guys made it to this point in the podcast, though, just want to say thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Check out the show notes in the description. Got these stupid question socks, and they have the question, who am I, on the top of the foot. So whenever you are putting this on, you can think about, who are you? Yeah, really appreciate you guys for being here. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment. Really helps to continue to grow us there. And if you are listening on any of the podcast platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you could like, review, comment, all of that really helps to continue to grow the podcast. All right, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you again, John, for being on here, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.